Do we think clickbaity headlines are okay when reporting research results? I feel like no, and I'm curious if I'm alone here. This is an article that showed up in my feed. Math homework can end up doing more harm than good, study shows. So I'm thinking there's a study that found math homework does more harm than good. Like generally, right? Like they must have been looking at a bunch of people across a variety of grades of math, right? Like that's the only way you could get such a general headline. And like maybe it's the responsibility of the reader to keep reading, but let's be real, people don't always read past the headlines. But if you were to make it to the second paragraph, not the first paragraph, the second paragraph, you would see that this was a study in Canada where researchers interviewed 8 families about their experience with math homework. And the focus was on grade 3. And to be honest, I love that they shared this. And I feel very different about the findings from this study and this headline, knowing that it came from interviews with 8 families. If you know me, you know that I'm a mixed methods researcher, so I do quantitative and qualitative research. I'm struggling with how to say this because I don't want to start a quantitative qualitative debate. I think both types of research have their role. I'm curious about how the heck we can generalize interviews with 8 families to a statement like that. Let's hope the writer of that article read the actual scientific article and they say, well, this is a small sample and the findings cannot be generalized. We also acknowledge that through our years of experience, our findings depict a common narrative, which basically says, hey, this is a small sample. We only interviewed 8 families about this. So don't go and make a big general claim based on what we found, but also it matches up with what we've seen. This headline it's wrong. It feels wrong to me. And I get that you don't want a headline that's we interviewed 8 families who had 3rd grade students and found that math homework could do more harm than good. Because that's a long headline, but that's the better headline, right? That's the more accurate headline. It's this timeless question for me, which is the issue with media and data literacy a journalist responsibility or the reader's responsibility? Or should the researcher be stepping in and be hey, yeah, that can't be your title. This article needs to look different. Thoughts?